So have you ever wondered about what happens when somebody channels a message? Where does that come from? Where are they getting?
Where do they go?
Right. Where are they going? Right. If it's actually another entity channeling.
Right.
So we have the expert today, one of our experts, Dr. Jersey Wulster, who is actually a chiropractor by trade, a life coach, but she has been a medium her entire life. Mm-hmm. And her mode, one of her methods, is channeling. So we keep promising that we're going to bring her back so that she could channel. So we have her here today with us, and we're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
Jersey.
Thank you, Deana.
Listen, I never do this, but I've just been having this really crazy feeling, and I said, Deb, I have to ask her. Does the council have a message for me? And I don't know. Something is nagging me, telling me, and I thought I would just ask you.
Do we want to talk about her process first? Or you just want to get the message?
No,
all right. And then we'll talk, and then we'll backtrack. Okay.
If that was okay with her, because...
Fine. It's fine. Thank you for the question, and I'll bring back what I see.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So... the messages for you are broad and wide and dear for you and your constituents. And your struggles are many right now, but your gifts will outweigh your struggles always. Count on them, be guided by them, and bring the people into your world and universe that will assist you. You've kept some out.
Okay.
And rejected some concepts that might help because it didn't align with your core belief system. So I would suggest to you, we would look at the broad picture of the map of your life and the life of the people that you spend time with.
Okay.
Be cautious about drawing that map and making new roads on the map in the bumpy terrain. Be aware that although there are dark shadows, that the light is far brighter than the dark will ever be. Darkness is nothing more than the absence of light, and I would submit to people to not be afraid of darkness. It simply means we need to turn on the light. So as we walk through the chambers and the council, the message for you and for whomever hears this that might ring true for them is the old adage, to thine own self be true. You battle your internal self. You battle with what's right and wrong, and it appears perhaps that you overanalyze it as you are both gifted and burdened by high intellect, and it gets in the way. If you can go into the knowingness and use some of the exercises this one is given, however simple, we hold the belief that simple is the quickest way to get here. When the mind tangles with the knowing, the mind will usually win because its job is very clear. As we've spoken of before, the 4 components. The mind's job is to think. The body's mind is to do. The spirit mind is to be, and the emotional mind is to think, is to feel. The mind tends to win when not tamed, like a impetuous child. When it's thinking and thinking and thinking, it's doing what it's born to do, but must be tamed, and must be put in its, not place, but put in its alignment with the 4 components. This is the struggle we see in today's time. You're not alone. You're never alone, actually. So we would take a look at mind, body, soul, emotion and say, get back. This is the message to persons listening. Get back in your body and get out of your mind. We've given oftentimes a rendering of how to do that. Earthing is about walking on earth with bare feet, going into the woods and talking to a tree, per se, finding humor with your friends, or most importantly at yourself. Again, to their own self be true is a comic relief to realize what our weaknesses are. This one's education drives towards studying over the unsure, the unknown, or the uncertain. But with certainty, times over material breeds certainty. So the more you study, realize, or in fact meditate, pray, whatever exercise you use, you'll become more certain. It appears in your field as some scatter, which you've placed and fed. And it's from a long time ago. It comes from a different time. So we would suggest to you that the scatter be cleaned up. Visualization is the way the mind, the brain talks to the body, and the spirit talks to the brain. For you, a simple thing is vision yourself in your sacred space. It appears it's on a mountain, perhaps. Bring a broom and a vacuum and vacuum up the scatter. Then offer it as an energy offering back to the winds. To the ancient, nature is a very curative entity for physicality. And you love nature, you spend time in nature, you do. A lot of people apparently don't do that these days. Living in an apartment complex, go out and, as we said, hug a tree. The scatter is not permanent, although you have some belief system that it is. So we would check, after you bring your broom or vacuum and pick up the scatter, and I think it appears you know what we're talking about. I want you to bless it and use ceremony, and we want you to go ahead and see the value that it brought you. Okay. Why was being stuck here sufficient for you? Why did it serve you? And it appears that it served your physicality or emotionality more than your spirituality. So we would tell you, we would see the picture, and this is just a picture, doesn't mean it's truth, of being hung and dying by noose, which would stop and slow the energy of communication and value. Does that ring true for you?
It does now, as you're saying it.
So we would bless that lifetime and go and find out where it was. And take a look into the depths of your soul and understand healing comes from the comprehension and the ability and willingness to see what is so, being fearless and courageous, which you are, but have struggled on this note.
Yes.
So we would look into your lineage and your past and bless it and send it on its way. For it served its time then, and it served its value then, and it brought you lessons here, but for some reason it appears you've resisted some of them. There's struggle in your family, it seems? Is that so?
Maybe.
So, rough again, we would recommend you use the visualization, which is how we connect mind, body, soul, emotion. The primordial brain at a biological level cannot comprehend thought. Primordial brain at a biological level requires visualization. It is the only language that speaks to the body. Intellect does not ring true in the body. Visualization does. And we know you know how to do it. We also know it appears you have not been doing so. It's a tool you have in your arsenal. Just bring it out. That allows the spirit as spoken of before, the pituitary and the pineal gland. It allows the spirit to be integrated with the body. The noose, real or imagined, represents separation. You feel what now? Something's happening.
Now?
What is it?
Just, I don't know. You mean physically right now?
Yeah.
Just gurgling in my neck.
Painful or uncomfortable or no?
Just like stopping me from speaking.
So what stops you from speaking?
Fear.
Of?
Making the wrong choice.
And what happens if you make the wrong choice?
I just prolong the cycle that I'm in.
If you make the wrong choice, the cycle of difficulties prolongs.
Yes.
And so what if that happens?
That's right.
So what if that happens?
I don't want to do it again. I'm tired.
So you get fatigued?
Well, the thought of it going on fatigues me.
Okay. And when you're tired, what happens in the body?
Body breaks down.
And when it breaks down, what happens?
Sickness.
What's the decision you made about sickness?
I don't want to be sick. I made a vow not to be sick.
So when you're sick, you compromise your vow.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's wrong with that on occasion? This is a body that has limits.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we make peace? Mind, body, soul, emotion. How do we make peace with a body that may just get a bug or a flu?
I mean, it happens.
Belief system. So we would challenge you. Here's an exercise for you.
Okay.
Write down your most profound 5 to 11 profound belief systems.
Okay.
and then access yourself, find out if you're living true to them, and decide which ones are false.
Okay.
Oftentimes, what drives humans is data that is outdated, false beliefs, limiting beliefs, and false data and false beliefs. And the solution, as this one knows, is to train over the beliefs or gather more data. Otherwise, we spend time in the solar plexus in a loop, right there, perpetuating it over and over again,
right there,
calling it in. So this one is going to share with you an attunement exercise given recently to align the chakras and release the pressure there.
Okay.
So you've gotten the instruction on on alignment?
Yes.
And connection.
Yes.
So we will then review attunement and freedom.
Okay.
Power happens in the base chakras, and part of us is the base chakras, which is the physical chakras, is where our power lies quite often. And when we can move it to the super chakras above the head is when we are most aligned.
Okay.
So physicality is a wonderful thing, and it's a gift of this lifetime. Spirituality is a gift of permanency.
Yes.
So which one do we tend to first? Our body is screaming, feed me, sleep me, sleep me. Which one do we tend to first?
We tend to that one first.
Right.
Yeah.
So in closing, thought for you is simple. Alignment, connection, attunement, and a potential for review of shift in belief systems.
Okay.
Because whether or not we like it, we have what we believe.
Yes. Okay.
But you know that intellectually, as most do. But experientially, we're not sure. You have evidence that it's true, and yet at some level, you fight that evidence. Would that be accurate?
I know that my belief system, I can create anything. I know that. I've lived it. But I also know that when I go into fear, I quickly create anything on that front. So that's the limitation, because there's fear.
This is we leave you with this thought. Law of attraction is a natural universal law that is unchanging.
Yes.
So if we look at the logic, I like to use the number line. 0 to 10, 0 to negative 10. They're both the same. They have the same distance from 0 at a physical level. So when we shift into fear, the question becomes, how do we shift out of fear? And one of the ways to do it is to just be with the fear an agreed upon time. Set a timer. Here's a recommendation. You got it. 3 minutes, set a timer. Be as fearful as you can, then get up and walk away.
Okay.
One of the coaching models that works very well. And this is something we use. We can't hold a ball under the water forever.
Right.
It'll eventually pop.
Right.
And yet the aspects of ourselves that we don't like, fear, lack of courage, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, and whatever we are, we need to make peace with those, we call them shadow selves.
Yes.
And that will restore your power above the baseline chakras, taking you out of survival.
Thank you.
Will that help?
Yes.
Any questions?
No. No. Thank you.
You're welcome. True for you? We're good?
We're good.
Wow, and you're back?
Wow.
Yep.
That was wild.
Yeah,
so
wild.
do you just, because we just jumped right into the whole thing without
know.
even talking about how you
I
do
need
it
it.
and what Deana's not going to speak for the rest of the time. I'm
Okay.
just
Are
kidding.
you okay?
Yeah, I'm just saying, just got to process all
Okay.
that, right?
Yep.
That's a little, that was good.
That was
Yeah.
great. That was great.
And so you were talking in the third person, so it's the council speaking through you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a little bit of a blend. This is a little bit not my natural setting. I know when the words are all we, it's pure counsel.
Uh-huh.
When it's I, it's a blend. So I can own that.
Yes.
If I'm mixing a little bit of what I've trained with.
Yeah, I think you mixed a
I
little bit.
did mix a little bit. When I'm doing the pure writings,
Yes.
it's all we. And I honestly never know what I said.
I didn't.
come
Do
back.
you know what you said?
I remember a couple pieces.
Okay, yeah,
so,
a little bit. Uh-huh.
Council talked about the steps, right?
Yeah.
And you need to work on attunement.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said you already got the alignment and connection
Yeah.
part down
And-
from the
Okay.
last time.
Okay.
So here we are.
Yeah.
That alignment.
And it was about for me. I have to trust in what I know, like I need
Sure.
you know, this is, but
Well, and to look at your belief systems.
I have to look at my belief systems.
Yeah, because what's the one that's,
What, I don't know why I'm in fear. I don't know why. Not that I'm in fear, but it's just a lot that I had going on, and it's easy to. It's harder to not be in fear. Right?
Of course,
and I'm there.
of
I'm
course.
there, and things happen, and I manifest. But when I slip into fear,
I'm going to reframe that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really harder to be in fear, or is it easier? It's a default mechanism.
it's easier to be in fear. It's harder for
Of
me
course,
not to.
of course,
Yeah,
with everything going on.
Yeah,
Good.
with everything that's going on.
But they also said just deal with the fear. Go give yourself a timer and have the fear, and then walk away from it.
That's a technique we use in coaching because we're always fighting
Interesting.
ourselves. So when I'm working with someone, let's say, and I've used this before, let's say someone says, I'm greedy. And they spend their lifetime pretending not to be greedy. So I give them a timer, a 3-minute timer, which is a coaching model. I say, be as greedy as you can for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Give that aspect of yourself, as Carl Jung would say, the shadow self. Give that aspect of yourself the voice. Because behind every shadow is a message. And one of the most important things, which is why I like blending the worlds, is our power lies in our shadows. Your power is being held up by your fear. According to Carl Jung and you know the shadow work, etc. So we take a look at how do we find that? How do we make peace with the aspect of ourselves we don't want to be? So we can find an origin point in coaching, or an origin point in your belief system, and you're meditating, whatever, and then we can find it. I believe, and I've done this for decades, I believe we make peace with our shadows by being with them. And so one of the things I've done, it's called gremlin coaching, is someone will tell me one of their gremlins or fear or whatever is we give that. I've done this before sometimes. It's more proactive and conscious and cognitive. Is we give that a name and we have that person make peace with that name. Like, what message do you bring me? So if I was to stay in a coaching session with you, we find out what message the fear brings and how does it serve you, because if it doesn't, it wouldn't be there.
Right, and the council did say something to that effect of, for me, it felt like why is this come up? What is the message?
Right,
What
because
is, yeah. So,
because it was from, they said you have stuff from past lives and things like that right, why does it keep coming up?
I will let you know. I'm gonna listen to this again.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I'm sensitive to energy, and there was just a tremendous amount of energy in here, and it's literally sitting right now, right here.
Right. And you got to go out with your broom or your vacuum
yes,
to the top of
that
the
was
mountain.
interesting.
That's wild.
Yes,
To the top of her mountain.
Yeah,
I can see your safe space.
You know what? When people say, like, where do you go, and they go to a beach, I go to the top of the mountain.
I can see it.
With snow, and I just look out. I love it. I mean, I love the beach, but where I go is the top of the mountain.
Now you got to bring a broom at least.
A broom and clean up the clutter, and I get that. There's a lot of clutter. There's just a lot of clutter.
But one thing I do remember was really crystal clear for you, which most people, again, my background in biology, is the body doesn't speak an intellectual language. It doesn't. It's, you say, I'm rich,
Right.
or you have to see yourself with $1 million in your bank.
Yes.
Because I saw that really loud and clear, using a component to actualize, and this is true for most people, to access your body and your physical knowing is to be able to bring in pictures. And it's, humans don't particularly naturally practice that.
Right.
We become so intellectual.
Right.
The male or female on the farm that's got their hands in the dirt all day sees it. I plant a seed, I see a stalk of corn going. And that I see that may assist you.
Yeah, I think that will. I think that will a lot,
Yeah.
because it was like, what am I doing? I do know that. I do this. Why am I not? Yeah.
Yeah,
Our busy minds get in the way of what we know.
Oh, absolutely. And life can be very busy, and life can be very complicated sometimes, and it does.
It does.
Get in the way. So now,
Yes.
when that was happening, for me, there was, I don't know where anybody else felt here in the studio, but there was just a tremendous amount of energy. You don't feel any bit tired or nothing. Like you seem energized.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Never. Part of it was a little honest, holding back a little bit, because some of it I wouldn't present here.
Right. No, I know that.
But part of it was energetically, when I can ask a series of questions. To me, I'm very blessed. The model of intuitive readings mixed with a coaching model to understand our why. Yeah. As I've said to you guys before privately, my goal is to help people. My purpose is to heal, and my goal is to help people do it for themselves.
Yes. Hi, Deb and I just wanted to take a minute and say thank you for watching. We hope that you're enjoying our guests, and we wanted to say please remember to subscribe below, like us, send us a comment.
And let us know if there's anybody you want to hear from, and
we'll try to get them on.
Yes.
Right.
How do we access our inner knowing? And one of the things that came up, I do remember one statement, because I can remember I was switching into the I, and oftentimes I do that the I doesn't come, but it came for you. I think I was guarding a little bit, but part of it was attunement, and here's the visualization that I got recently on attunement.
Let's go there. Let's hear this. Yes.
We did alignment and we did connection.
Right.
Yeah.
And the next one is attunement. So what I saw was you do your 3 breaths, you do your alignment, I'm connected, and then you go ahead and you take I see, visualizing, a needle with golden white thread coming from the base chakra.
Okay.
And go base counting 1 to chakra 2 to chakra 3 to chakra 4 to chakra 5 to chakra 6, which is actually, to me, encompasses pineal gland in the front.
Oh wow.
And there it is. Pineal gland and pineal gland in the back, and pituitary in the front. Chakra 7, which is the crown, and then go to 8, 9, 10 for protection. So that's simple. You got it. I see it. So what just happened for you?
I don't know. I literally felt. I felt something align and clear up, and I felt. Remember, I just said to you what I didn't want to get into, because we're sitting here right now, podcast, and we're talking. Is I now have a headache. It just took it out. It just pulled right out.
Yeah.
It just pulled
That's
right
wild.
out. So it's gone.
It's gone, right. So it's attunement, because we're so cerebral. Humans are so cerebral. We spend so much time up here. Give me a guy on the farm or a gal on a truck or whatever. We spend so much time up here that we don't necessarily bring it down. Remember, the mind's job is to think. And I always call it, when working with clients, oftentimes someone will come, they can't stop. I call it diary of the mind.
Yeah, that's good.
And so how do we tame it? Like taming of the shrew. Shakespeare knew what he was doing. So how do we tame it? We access that it's there. We find its benefit. One of my techniques is turn the timer for 3 minutes, think until you etc. But then and those 3 examples, and there's more steps. Those are the 3 first. Align, connect, attune. And using all 3 of them when they were presented to me were visualizations. And I, like you, tend to get. I will often. I don't mean to speak for you. Will get too heady or too intellectual because they seek to understand. So when I go to my quiet mind,
and it's a battle, because it's just as strong both ways for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe just need to, ride a horse or, get out there more. So we look at ourselves and how can we be more physical? So the visualization, and as I said to you before, really important. Once you practice these for 21 days and you see some version of what I just showed you, you can say alignment, you can say connected or connection, and you can say attunement, and it is there.
Right, that's pretty wild.
Great.
So how do you do the attunement?
I just said with the needle.
Oh, the needle. Okay.
The needle. I see a needle. I see a golden white thread, and all I see attunement is attuning the body, like you tune a piano, so that they're in harmony with each other.
Yeah, that's.
Remember, every chakra, every energy center has a sound, and actually
and a color.
And a color, and depending on who you read, and they're pretty similar. There's overlap, but everyone, like the what is it called? The eight in a music.
Notes?
The 8 notes. every single one of your chakras have a note or a sound or vibration.
Yeah, right.
So
there's sound to the universe, right? I mean, there's the constellations and the mathematics of the universe.
Of course.
Are notes.
Yes, of course.
There's sound.
Vibration. Everything's vibration. A rock has vibration.
Right.
A baby has high vibration. They haven't been told no enough times, so they're just always, not always, but the vast majority of the time, attuned to the universe and their interconnectedness.
Yeah.
So we go, but how do you teach a child how to speak English for practice? A child falls down about who you read, between 200 and 1,000 times before they learn to walk. Why is it that we don't practice spiritual quiet mind?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's easy not to.
Do more. Yeah.
It's easy not to.
Right.
It's a discipline.
It's a discipline.
Who would leave their house in the modern world and not brush their teeth?
Right.
Well, that's why what I always tell my guides, dear God, please give it to me easy. I need it simple. That's why you practice it for the 21 days, and then you just say the word, boom, it's there.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Because it calls in cellular memory. It calls in, what do I need? How am I going to get there? And how do we balance the 4 components? You can look at someone walking in the door and know when they're not balanced.
Yes.
Right? You could look at someone who's not in their heart, who's not feeling their emotions. It's not, if you were raised by parents who weren't, or wasn't, in my mother's generation, children, she was the oddball. Children should be seen and not heard.
Right.
Sure.
People weren't granted permission to feel,
Right.
and now we just swung in the continuum. We swung to all emotions in the last couple of years.
Well, yeah, it's the
Absolutely.
pendulum.
So now it's swinging back.
Swing
Right.
back.
Of course it will.
And that's
Right.
what, yeah.
Balance is about pendulum in the middle for all of the components.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
So
that's
just
great.
some ideas for you and some thoughts for you, and I'll probably go back and listen to it because I only remember a couple of parts of it, but it's just interesting that we all, I believe with all my being, we all came here with a purpose, a journey, a soul. Most of us have contracts, not all. And
really.
Yes, I believe
You
so.
believe that?
I believe
okay. I've never heard that before. That most of us.
Most of us. Not everyone has. I don't know that everyone has a soul contract. I work with a shaman and handling some of my contracts. Because you look at you ever have that? You go, why does this keep happening?
Right.
Why am
Well,
I making
sure.
this up? Why do
Yeah.
I'm stealing from me?
Right,
Why,
right.
Okay,
why does
right,
this keep
sure.
happening? And one of the things I worked
get
with
the
when
lesson,
I
yeah.
wrote the book called Betrayed, because I had a number of times. I'm fairly intelligent. How did
Yeah.
I miss it?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So it was some ridiculous lesson unlearned until I was able to figure out where it was and make peace with the origin point of that. And it's not even past life. It could be. We're not past life. Karma, what did I do? What did they do? It's not even all that. Sometimes it's just contracts that need to be rewritten, or they need to be completed, or they need to be redecided. Soul contract. The
Right.
Akashic Records, which you mentioned before, is to do with your soul records, but I believe there's sometimes there's contracts in there.
Okay.
And you talk to your practitioners that do that. You say, okay, my contract is to learn X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
And so why in physicality does it have to hurt?
Yeah. Right.
Because I don't listen.
Right.
Because I don't do what I'm supposed to do.
Right. Well, sure.
So there's.
But I didn't know people didn't come in with contracts. I figured everybody had.
I don't
So
believe
never heard
everybody does.
Huh.
I don't. That's my personal belief. I
Yeah.
think we have agreements. You have lessons to learn, and if
Yes.
you want to call that
Right.
a contract,
Oh,
it can
yeah.
be.
Okay. I guess I'm.
But a contract might be, for instance, someone meets and marries the lover of their life, but they leave him to go marry John Jones, who's the wrong guy or gal.
Right.
To me, that's contract. Having lived
Yeah.
it myself, I
Yeah.
wasn't able to see them earlier in my younger days, but I see it now. So to make peace with the contract, and I get help with that. I'm I'm a professional student, and I will get help wherever I can get help. So,
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
People should get help with the contract thing.
Well, not just that. With unless we are
Lessons.
monk and spending 10 or 20 hours a day, which we can do, right? There's not too many
Sure.
Gandhis out there. Unless we're spending. I'm at Yogananda. There's not that many people out there that are spending all the time. So how do we do it in a busy world that is designed for distraction?
Well, it is. It's designed for
Yeah.
distraction.
It's designed for distraction.
Absolutely. That's this world.
Yes, it is. But we have bought it.
Well,
We've agreed to
Yeah,
it.
Some of
right.
us.
We did.
I don't, but
Right.
Right, but she's saying before we came,
but
we
you know what?
agreed
It's
that
not,
that's
it's even
where
the
we're
things you don't
going,
agree
and that's
to,
where we're
you're
going to.
pulled into it because that's how the world is set up too. I mean,
Right.
even if you try to avoid the noise and the mask, even if you try to avoid that,
Yeah.
just your everyday life pulls you away from your center.
Only if you let it.
Well,
No, we all get pulled. We all get pulled. But one of my favorite lines, I don't know who said this, the only way to freedom is discipline. So, I see the people, I'm getting better at it now. I've done it great, then I've missed it. I haven't been consistent for a life. To get up and do my meditation or my prayers or my centering every morning before I get out of bed or before I start the day. And there's times, I have to be someplace and I don't set up
Right.
my time. I don't lay out the intention to make sure. I'm getting much better at it now.
yeah, I am. That's part of my day.
Perfect.
But there's always going to be a day
Of course.
when you
Life.
can, and then you go,
Right.
oh, what's
That's
missing?
why you have to have
Yeah.
the simple little things. That's how I feel about it. Like if it hardly takes any time, but it's super effective, then you can do it every single
Yep.
day.
Absolutely.
Like whatever, whether you're waiting for your coffee to brew or you're brushing your teeth, do it at the same time if you have to. Like it's easy you can ground yourself while you're brushing your teeth.
Sure.
You can picture yourself in white light while you're, going to
You
the
know,
bathroom.
I'm in appreciation in my
yeah.
my drive in the morning.
Right, exactly,
from the house
exactly.
to-
I'm saying, like, if people just integrated, like, the little things that are quick, they'd probably be easier. Because
They
I
are.
think people think, oh, I
I have to meditate for an hour.
Yeah, or even if they think I have to meditate for 15 or 20 minutes, which is like kind of the recommendation these days, right? You don't have to do it for an hour. Sometimes I think people that, well, I don't have 15 or 20 minutes that I could do that, but maybe I have a minute or two.
33 seconds
Right.
is the magic number.
Okay, 33 seconds.
Here's an interesting,
right? How easy is
here's
that?
an interesting, I tell people, and this is what I've done. When I've done, I record my readings when they come, but I also have rewritten some things that I read that were important to me in my own, I tell people, in my own phone.
Right.
Might be 1 minute or 5 minutes, and I push and listen to my voice telling me.
Nice.
Not somebody telling me.
Okay.
Nice.
Because it's our vibration.
That's very cool,
Yeah, that's
actually.
good. Yeah, I like that.
It's our vibration. Our name has my name
Yes.
is Jersey. It has a vibration. Debbie,
Right.
it has a vibration. So that vibration you talked about, sacred geometry, or everything has a vibration. The sound.
Yes.
Our vibration is much easier to accept, even if we say a word that we don't believe in. When it's on our voice, it rings true to us at a soul level because of the vibrational sound of that voice. But there's tools out there we can use.
Yes.
Right.
So I'll have clients, coaching clients, I'll have them record what they want in their voice. And they're like, this is weird. I do it anyway.
And then what? Then they listen.
Well, you could I do it myself.
Yeah,
like
right.
even the
I get
recordings
it.
that I've done, because I honestly don't remember, is I'll listen to it and I go, well, that was really cool. Or,
Right, that's cool.
I
Yeah.
remember that. Or, oh my gosh, this one was for me. I better change something here. So our awareness of the four components and the balance, although it's troublesome, and to be true, I don't think there's ever been a time in mankind where it wasn't somewhat difficult or troublesome. If you're not trained at it, and if you're not trained at a really young age.
I agree.
Yeah. So
We can complain about our times, but then again, humanity is more compassionate, loving, understanding, kind now than ever before. Right? Life means something different to us as a race now than it ever did before.
Sure.
So it had to be just as difficult.
As a human.
well, I think the United States has always been
that's what I mean.
the
Human
fact
race.
a beacon.
Yeah.
It's been a beacon of freedom for the human race.
Yeah.
In the last 250 to 275 years. So it's been a beacon. So they already have the blueprint. So how are we accessing it? There are countries and nations that don't have the freedom that we have here, for sure.
Right.
Different conversation. But they'll always... I remember studying some of the people that survived jail, imprisonment, concentration camps. And the ones that were successful used visualization.
All right.
And all was able to access, that I saw anyway, I'm sure there's more, that able to access their quiet mind and make new decisions. Because you can you can enslave someone's body, but you cannot enslave their mind.
Right.
Now, perhaps with drugs and a whole bunch of stuff, you cannot enslave someone's mind. You can't.
That's interesting.
As evidenced through the great heroes, Braveheart, the great heroes of through humanity. But I even wrote it in my book, above all things, control your thoughts.
Right.
Beautiful.
And we always come back to that on this
that's right.
podcast.
That's right.
Our evolving consciousness, yes, which...
It's a discipline. It's not always
it is a
easy
thing.
for any of us.
Right. No, I mean, that is right. As practiced as you are, you always, can catch yourself.
I always have a teacher or a coach that I can access. Always.
Right, but I mean,
Always.
in controlling your thoughts, and like we'll always, I do it all the time. I'll say something and I'll be like, "Oh no, let me change that." Yeah, back up. Right.
When I
but
studied-
at least we can catch ourselves now.
I think when I was studying silver mind control back in the day, they used the word cancel. So if you
Yes.
had a thought,
I
Yes,
know.
that
People
is-
say
yes.
that.
Yes.
I know. I cancel
Cancel.
sometimes.
Or the other thing that I learned, and this is written by Wallace Wells in the early 1900s, I think it was him. He talked about when you have a revolving thought, and I thought this was brilliant because this is before we knew neuroanatomy the way we know it, is if you have a thought that's not an alignment with what you want,
Okay.
we don't squash the thought, we replace it.
Replace
Right.
it.
You pivot.
Yes.
You pivot.
Right.
So,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. You think something better, hopefully,
Yeah, think something
or
You think
say something better.
Or I use homeopathy and help people to get rid of their running mind. But it becomes awareness. I mean, to live a fully enlightened and you're aware all the time. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
What's really we don't ever talk about this, but
What's that?
let's talk about homeopathy for a second.
That's so
Right?
funny. I was going to
Because
have her talk about it too. That's so funny.
Homeopathy is
Yeah, so
an
wild.
infusion of an energy and a thought, right, into what's being triggered with homeopathy. Like that is the talking to the cells and.
Homeopathy is energy medicine formulated by Samuel Hahnemann in the 1700s. He's known for saving Napoleon Bonaparte's army, etc. But what's interesting, is the only medicine, it's really a remedy, that was tested on humans. So we know exactly what it does. So homeopathy is based upon the truth of like cures like. So here's what I love. Law of attraction, you think this, you bring this. Right. Homeopathy, someone has poison ivy, for instance. We don't give them cortisone. We give them extraordinarily diluted poison ivy to match energetically and cure and heal. But the science of, and homeopathy is a science, it's way harder in prescribing homeopathy than medicine. But it's work with stress. I give me a postpartum woman, or give me someone who's anxiety. It's amazing.
I use it for
amazing
everything.
Perfect.
And just a little tincture that's just talking to my cells and
absolutely
getting them to go to work.
Well, because it doesn't interfere. It works along with. It doesn't interfere. You know, there's a time and place for medications, but a lot of the medications don't. They can interfere with bodily function temporarily. Yeah. Right. Homeopathy is amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I studied it for 3 years in the institute, and part of it was because my daughter was so ill with Lyme's that nothing helped her. She became autistic. And after, I'm like, nothing worked. Medicine, nothing worked. I did it all. Herbs, medicine. Then I took her to the world-renowned homeopath at the time, 30 years ago. And like, boom, she stood up and sang.
Yeah,
Still one of those moments. Still one of those moments that changed my life. Like, okay, I guess I'm going to school.
Yeah. Right. Wow. Guess this works.
I guess this works.
Yeah, it's amazing how these things come upon
wonderful.
us.
There's so many healing arts, and we just have to find the one that we believe in.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter if it's medicine, or homeopathy, or chiropractic, or prayer, or meditation. Your belief system in any healing modality is the most important thing that we can do, with the exception of extremely grave diseases that, etc. Right. Ebola, I would be taking medicine.
Oh yeah, sure.
But everything else, your belief system drives it. So, and a lot of those beliefs are born in childhood.
Right.
Good and bad. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, thank you for finally coming on and channeling. No, I'm teasing
incredible.
you, but that was amazing.
I'm going to recover.
Yeah, but that was great.
No, it was amazing. Thank you.
And you're next, and we want to just talk about really briefly that we're going to do an event. So people that are in New Jersey and they're local in Morristown, New Jersey, at the Unitarian on May 1st, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Yeah, a couple hours, and you're going to really give some tools. And I mean, I know you're going to talk about how you get to these things and what you do with them.
Well, part of it, I am, my love is being a student. My second love is being a teacher.
Okay, so
So part of it is it'll be teaching what I've learned, and sort of as I was so busy as a single mom raising children in my office and running a business, etc. So now I feel like it's time to tell the world what I really do, which is
plus they're telling you better get on the stick.
I did get yelled at a couple times.
Yeah, that's great.
I did get yelled at a couple times. So we're
going to talk about connection.
Yes.
We're going to talk about alignment.
Attunement.
All this, more in depth than we did today, but
well, I think
we're looking forward to that.
Part of it is understanding their steps, and again, my gift or my belief system, if you will, is to make it really simple.
We love that. Right, so anybody can come, all ages,
simple.
any kind of, I think it'll be fantastic.
Well,
thank you. Looking forward to that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And thanks everyone for listening to our podcast, Our Evolving Consciousness today.